Hello, YouTube. All right, I decided to come by Walmart real quick to show you what the rice cooker is that I was talking about. It's this $14, $14.96 rice cooker from Aroma, and it's a 120 volt rice cooker, but it only requires 300 watts. And with the power inverter, remember the one if you saw the episode on Harbor Freight's power inverter, I'll show you some at Walmart too, just to show you, even though they look slightly different, they all do the same thing. But basically underneath the devices, well, this one doesn't have it. They didn't put the sticker on here. But generally on most devices, underneath them, they usually tell, let me see if it has any under here. This is a display model. They didn't put all the tags on it because these aren't real. But generally, it'll tell you how many watts it requires. And this is the smallest one, which requires 300 watts. These bigger ones, they usually require 8 to 1200 watts. So if you were going to cook this using the inverter that I was talking about, you would need to get an inverter that was like 1000 or 1200 or 50. Well, they don't even have the 1200, but a 1500 watt inverter or larger. Now I got one that was 2000, which should be enough to run something like any of these cooking things, because at the most they usually go up to maybe 1600 watts, but most of them are going to be about 1200 watts. I'm guessing from what I've seen in the past. Now I came here to try to get an extra rice cooker, and you can see they're all gone. The ones that say 1496 are all gone. And I do have one. It's an old one. I had two, but the thing ended up, I popped the lid because a warning for you on this glass lid: when you cook something hot, don't put it under cold water to rinse it right away. It'll shatter. That's what happened to me. I had cooked some food at work and it was hot, and then I was going to clean it and didn't think and put it right underneath cold water, and the whole thing exploded. It shattered. So don't do that. But they don't have any, and it's okay. I have one, so I'll use my old one to show you. Another device you can use for cooking is known as a crock pot. And what's different from a crock pot to a rice cooker is that this crock pot only goes up to about 80 watts. So even on high mode, it's only 80 watts. This one, when you put it on high mode, it's 300 watts. So it'll cook like almost 4 times faster on the rice cooker than on this one. A crock pot can be used even with a smaller inverter, like a 200 watt inverter, but it has to sit there and run all day. An inverter tends to get hot. That's why you want to get an inverter that plugs, with the alligator clips directly onto the battery versus using the cigarette lighter. Because the ones that go through the cigarette lighter, it'll get so hot that thing will melt and possibly catch on fire. So you want to get the larger one, like a 750 watt or a 1000 watt or 1200 or 1500 watt inverter or higher, and use that for cooking. But in a pinch, in an emergency, you could use a smaller one, like a 400 watt, or even you could use a 200 watt one with this. But it might get hot where it plugs into the cigarette lighter port. So that's how you can cook using an inverter in your vehicle. So I came here, and sadly they don't have the small rice cooker, which means I'm not going to be able to do it. I could get a crock pot to show you how it works, but I don't need a crock pot. If I really wanted a crock pot, I can set the rice cooker on low mode, just warm mode, without pushing it down to cook mode. In that mode, it's using about 40 watts, which is slower. It would be like the low on the crock pot, just keeping things warm. They do have this Aroma one, which is $20, which is probably better than that one. It's automatic cool touch locking lid, so it looks higher end, but it would probably work. I don't know how many. This is rice cooker and food steamer, so you could steam food with it. The display doesn't tell you how many watts, so I'm not going to get another one though. I don't want to spend $20. I was only going to spend $15 for this cheapy one, because I was trying to show you how to do it really cheap. You get one of these $15 rice cookers, you get a $30 to $40 inverter, so you're looking at about $60 to get a full-blown cooking system for your car or van in the event of an emergency. And that's pretty much it for the cooking. So the only thing that remains is to do a cooking episode just to show you how it all works. So I won't be able to do it tonight because it is starting to get dark, but I'll try to film it tomorrow. Meanwhile, if you're watching this video, as soon as I upload it tonight, I'm going to try to publish it so that you have time tomorrow to pick up the power inverter if you need to get one, or the power pack if you decide to go that route because you're not planning on cooking. Because you don't have to use electricity to cook. Let me show you another way you can cook when there's no power. All right, I'm sure most of you know that you can cook using propane or butane. I came to Walmart's camping section to try to show the systems, but you can see what the shelves look like because, you know, the hurricane is slated to hit here, so everybody is just buying everything up. There are a few more propane canisters here. I'm surprised they didn't take. It looks like these just got put out, so they did buy everything up, other than the damaged one. So you can cook with butane or propane, you know, in the event that you don't have electricity. I typically try not to use propane or butane unless I really have to, because, you know, it is a gas, it can explode, and because I know how to use electricity with the inverter and generate my own electricity using the car, and electricity can even be generated with solar panels and stuff, I prefer to cook with electricity versus a butane or propane system. Although I do have a small butane stove and butane canisters that I keep for emergencies. Another thing you can do is buy one of these Sportsman's Grill. You can see they want $88 for it. Or you could be cheap like me, like Denoy. If you watch the Cooking with Denoy episodes, there's a section where I take a pot, just a cooking pot, and I turn it into something like that. And the pot I bought from Goodwill for like $3, $4. So instead of spending $88, you can spend $4 and have something that you can cook steaks and stuff on using charcoal or using wood. So that's how we cooked when we were out at the compound. So those are just some alternative ways of cooking that you can do. Sadly, as you can see, if you're here at this stage right now, the stuff's gone. So at this point, I would recommend, you know, if you couldn't get any of this stuff, if you're coming this late at wherever you are, if you're not able to access that, get a pot, a big pot, like probably a 1 or 2 gallon pot, and sacrifice it to turn it into a cooking stove, and your fuel is going to be paper or wood and other items that you can put in there. Watch the Cooking with Denoy playlist to learn how to do that. I basically drill a hole and cut it and then put metal grates on it, so you got kind of a little stove, and it only costs like $4 or $5 to make versus $88 if you want to buy it here from the store. It's the same thing pretty much. Theirs is a little bit heavier duty and designed specifically for that and has a little bit more cooking surface, but mine is like $4. You can see they're restocking here, trying to restock all the stuff that people are buying up. All right, I'm currently at Walmart at their automotive section to look for the inverters and power packs, and you can see they are totally empty here. This is where I think they had their Jump Start power pack down here, the $99 one, which was the all-in-one, because I don't see anything else here at all. So people are kind of aware of it and using it. This might be a portable power. So this one will jump start. It has USB charging. So this is what we were talking about. It just looks different. I think this one's like $79. It says it has 1,000 peak amps. It has a USB charger, a light, a micro USB port so you can charge small things. Well, that's to charge this, so you have to charge it through USB. And I think it has a jump start. So this is what they have left here on this end at Walmart. Most of their stuff is gone. And it's because, once again, a hurricane is slated to hit this area and could be Category 4, which is pretty devastating. You can see all the batteries are disappearing too, because believe it or not, even though these are not RV batteries or discharge, low, deep discharge, deep cycle batteries, they can still be used for cooking. They can be used to set up an inverter cooking system, like I show you on my Cooking with Denoy playlist. So if you hadn't, no other systems, you could get one of these batteries. Like, you couldn't buy the battery pack itself. You can get one of these big batteries here and get an inverter You know, it has 2 alligator clamps on it. You hook the alligator clamp red to red, black to black, and on the other end you have the 120 volt output. So that's how you make your own power pack, essentially. So there's still quite a lot of batteries here, so people don't need the batteries. They're probably using their vehicle, like I was showing or stating on my other video. So I hope you found this video informative. It is kind of a last minute thing to be put together, but I know if you're at this point not sure what to do when power goes out, hopefully these suggestions will get you on the right track, so you're not sitting in the dark and you have the ability to cook, to have lights. I think to have lights is one of the most important things you can have when there's no power at night. You know, my daughter used to be afraid of the dark, so being able to run lights was very important. And of course, if you're running 120 volt lights, try to use LED or fluorescent light versus incandescent light. I don't even think you can buy incandescent lights anymore, but those fluorescent lights don't use that much power. So I do wish you all success in finding whatever components and items you need to get your power systems up. And just want to let you each know that you are all in my thoughts and prayers, and I am praying for each and every one of you. So until next time, everyone, please take care, stay safe, God bless you all. Try not to panic, you know. Go to the store and try to get the stuff. You still have 1 day, 2 days left before it hits, those of you on the West Coast. Those of you who aren't being affected by the hurricane at this point, it might not hurt you to get your items ready, you know, for other natural disasters or man-made disasters. You know, they talk about what, SHTF? I don't want to say it because YouTube might end up demonetizing me for that. But basically, you want to be prepared and ready to go so that when something like this happens, you have all the gear. You know, like this is a splitter that could be used for 212 volt output. They also have like plugs for USB for recharging. So you want to have all this stuff ready to go, because when you're in an emergency situation like this, as you can see, it's gone. Here, you could take like one of these. See, this is $10 here, and it has 2 USB ports and a 12 volt port. You put this onto your battery there, like the automotive battery, and now you have the ability to charge your phone for literally a month or more before you have to recharge that battery. And to recharge it, you just take your jumpers, you know, like a vehicle jump start battery, jumper cable, and recharge the battery by jumping it, you know, from your car, run your car and jump it. But this would give you a plug for recharging 2 USB devices as well as 12 volts. So you could run a fan, like a 12 volt fan all night, and keep yourself cool, because, you know, power goes out, air conditioning is not available. So you could build a system right now, because all the pre-built ones are gone. So at this point, if you want to know how to build one, once again, watch that playlist, the Cooking with Denoy playlist, as well as the van build, the earlier episodes. Look for the ones where I show how to build your own power pack. You can add all these devices and stuff, all these options that you want. They even have like meters and readers on there to show how much power you have left, which I didn't install, but you could get really fancy. I tend not to go fancy, I tend to go cheap. It just needs to be good enough. That's always been my philosophy. Get it working as cheap as possible and have it easy to fix and as reliable as we can afford. You know, the more money you can sink in, the better the stuff you can get. But in a crisis situation, put the stuff together, have it ready to go, so you're not sitting in the dark. Well, until next time, everyone, take care. God bless you all. Please stay safe, and my prayers for each and every one of you.